as you know, and we were having this discussion and talking about some of these things, and there was something that God revealed to her that I wanted her to share with us all here today.
Good morning, everyone. Sam made me bring bullet points because I tend to go too much into the detail, but I am excited to show this vision, actually, that the Lord gave me while we were in Italy. Most of you know we went to Italy for our 10-year wedding anniversary, and but let me backtrack for a little bit. Before we went to Italy, Sam brought me back a book from a pastor's conference that he went to, and it's called The God Connection by Bethany Hicks. I really love it and really recommend it. I was telling some girls yesterday that it really has changed my life. And basically it talks about that we are all hardwired and designed to hear from God. Not just some of us, but each and every one of us, because we are made in his image. And so it more importantly talks about our thought process and how most of the time, even though you may have been a Christian for your whole life, we all have that false narrative in the back of our minds that tell us, not me, not me. Oh, that person can hear from God. That person, God gives visions and prophecies and dreams, but not me. And there have been a few times in my life where I have known beyond a shadow of a doubt that it was the Lord, but it doesn't happen as much as I would like it to. So anyway, I'm reading this book. We get to Italy, and we finally get to the Amalfi Coast, which is our dream spot in Italy. This is why we came to Italy, was to go to the Amalfi Coast. So we get in, we check in, we're so excited. We get down to the Mediterranean Sea, we're looking out, and we're just like pinching ourselves. We're so excited. And I overhear two ladies next to me talking about the weather. Now, let me backtrack again. I have this thing with weather, right, Mom? Because on our wedding day 10 years ago, oh, how funny that is that we went to Italy to celebrate our 10-year wedding anniversary. It was torrential downpour on our wedding day, but not just drizzling, and we picked this beautiful venue with this beautiful view. I'm not staying on my bullets, honey, I know. But we picked this beautiful venue, and it said something crazy, 17% chance of rain. I promise you, I remember saying to one of my bridesmaids, isn't that weird? This was before it started raining. 17%, oh, thank you, Lord, 17% chance of. We walked outside of my bridal suite, and it is torrential downpour. And this all may seem really silly to you, but I promise it's going to come full circle. I struggled after our wedding day with that. It sounds so silly, but I said, God, I dreamed of my wedding day my whole life, and it was torrential downpour. But even through it, it was just the most beautiful ceremony. It was the most beautiful ceremony, but I still struggled afterwards. So we're sitting by the Mediterranean Sea 10 years later, and I hear these women talking about the weather, and I'm like, oh gosh, it's gonna rain. It's gonna rain. We're on the Amalfi Coast. We're on this $10,000 vacation of a lifetime, and it's gonna rain on the Amalfi Coast where it never rains. Following this, all this stuff on Instagram, beautiful blue skies, everything that I pictured, and it's gonna rain on the Amalfi Coast. And I look at my husband, and he looks at me, and he's like, uh-oh, here she goes. I felt myself spiraling out of control. This is the weather, guys, but God cares about the weather if you care about the weather. So I'm looking at my husband, and I'm like, check the weather. Check the weather, honey, because I can't check the weather. I do that all the time when we're on vacation. You do it, Mom. You check the weather because my heart can't handle it. So he checks the weather, and he looks at me and doesn't say anything, and I'm like, okay, it's going to rain. It's going to rain. It's okay. It's going to rain. It's going to rain. It's okay. It's going to rain on Amalfi Coast. So what do? I'm going to go get a drink, honey. I go to the reception office, and I said, so when it says it's going to rain in the Amalfi Coast, does it actually rain on the Amalfi Coast? And she's like, oh, honey, it's going to rain. And I'm like, okay, it's going to rain. So I go back. We have dinner. It's in the back of my mind. I'm still worrying about the stupid weather. And we get back to our room that night, and I'm like, I am having a really hard time, honey. I said, this is consuming me. What are we going to do if it's raining on the Amalfi Coast? Sit in our hotel room? What are we going to do? So he looks at me, and he was very patient. I have to say we both handled this situation very well, because sometimes he's like, it's the weather. It doesn't matter. We're going to make the most of it. but I have a hard time doing that. So he looks at me and he said, you have a choice to make. You have a choice to make here. And again, it sounds silly because it's the weather, but I had a choice to make. I can sit there and I can wallow in my sorrows and get into this place of self-pity. And if you are doing Relationship 101, one of my favorite things that Danny says is pain is inevitable, but misery is a choice. And you can replace that word pain with disappointment or frustration or anger. Frustration and disappointment, the disappointment of the weather, it's inevitable, but misery is a choice. So I can choose to stay in this place of misery, and that's exactly what he was talking about. Or I can choose to just cast the care, give it to God, because I know he cares, even if it's just the weather. And I can make the most out of our amazing 10-year anniversary trip. So we went to bed that night. I closed my eyes and I just had this honest, vulnerable conversation with God of, I don't want to do this anymore, because it's not just weather with me. It's so many things where I go back into that place of what's familiar. And honestly, back there, I was just telling Cindy, I thought that said same. I just turned 33 years ago and my eyesight's really bad, but that says shame. But this could be interchangeable. It's same and shame, so I can go back to that same place, that comfortable place where I'm relying and I'm dependent and I'm defined by who I think I am. And this is this judgment that I had, right? Because I don't deserve good weather on my vacation. I'm not worthy of good weather on my vacation because it's stupid. It rains all the time on people's vacations. So I said, I don't want to keep doing that anymore. I don't want to keep being in this place of, I feel like a child. And for a second, when he said you have a choice to make, I did feel like a child. But I'm like, I don't want to go back to that place anymore. I want to go back to that place. I want to go to that place of freedom, and I can have fun on my vacation if it rains. So I closed my eyes, and going back to that book that I was reading when I had that false narrative in the back of my head of, I wish God gave me dreams. I wish God gave me visions. I wish God gave me prophecies. I closed my eyes and he gave me the most vivid picture. I wasn't dreaming. It was the most vivid picture of me standing in a garden. Pretend these are trees. I was facing out between two trees. And you want to know something really funny? Because I really do think God has a sense of humor with me anyway. I was in my colorful koala Amazon leggings that are my favorite. A workout top, my hair was in messy bun, and I'm standing in this beautiful garden between these two trees, and God comes up to me and he turns my body towards the tree of life. But two things I think that really speaks to. Number one, God came to me in my leggings just as I am, where I was, but he's so good that he didn't just meet me there, but he turned me to face the tree of life and he pushed me towards it. And I opened my eyes, and I wasn't dreaming. I had never really had a vision or a picture like that. And I opened my eyes, and I just felt the greatest amount of peace come over me. And I said, it doesn't matter what tomorrow's weather is like. We're going to have a good time no matter what. And I promise I felt, I believed it. I believed that when I woke up that morning and I saw the rain, that it was going to be okay. Well, the next day and the day after that were the most beautiful days of our entire trip. And they were sunny, and we hiked 1,600 steps, and it's 10:44. I'm sorry, honey. I didn't read any of this, but I said I also felt like in that moment when I was praying before he gave me that picture, he asked me two questions. Do you believe that I am good? Or like what Sam just said, do you believe that I am who I say I am? And do you believe in the God that you learn about, or you think that you know? Do you actually believe in me? Do you believe that I am good? And do you trust me? And a lot of times, no. I'm going to be honest. No, I don't all the time. And then he gave me that picture, and he is so good to not only meet us where we are and comfort us, but help us in our decision making in that choice. And then yesterday I was writing this, and I felt like the Lord gave me the verse Psalm 23, surely goodness and mercy and unfailing love shall follow me all the days of my life, and I shall dwell forever in the house and in the presence of the Lord.